right. Here we are. Perfect. Making sure everything is set up correctly for us. And it looks good. So welcome everyone. This is going to be a very short stream today. Usually I start streaming at 10, but I have something I need to attend to at 10. So, this necessitates me doing things a bit early, right? And today we're going to be looking at Photoshop and some of the ways you can use generative AI and, just AI in general to fix images, to improve images, to, expand images, clean up images, and so forth. So this, here, let me make sure this audio isn't too loud here, right? So this is a photograph from Hope Cemetery in Worcester, Massachusetts, or it might be Auburn, Massachusetts. I'm not sure. It kind of sits on the border. Hope Cemetery is an old cemetery that I used to visit a lot when I was, late teens, early 20s kind of thing. And I used to take a lot of photos in this cemetery. This is one that I found in my archives. It was probably taken anywhere from 1996 to 1998. So it's rather old at this point. And you can see it's not the greatest resolution, right? So if we look at it, I can check my image size here. And if I look at it from pixels, yeah, 650 by 444, right? And this particular photograph was a 35 millimeter film exposure, black and white. I don't remember what camera I used to take it. It could have been my Pentax K1000. I had a Canon as well, but I don't remember the particular model. Yeah, it was probably the K1000, likely. So there's a couple of things we need to do to this. The first thing we need to do is remove this border. So, this is a scan of a actual print, a silver print. And, we've got all the paper in there. We've got the carriage, the carrier, film carrier, negative carrier, black border where the light leaked through and everything. We need to clean that up. So the first thing I'm going to do is just use simple, our little crop tool here. And I don't want a ratio. I just want, say original ratio, that's fine. And then we'll just go ahead and just crop that out. And it's going to cut out some of the other bits and pieces, but that's okay, because we're going to restore those through AI. So I'm going to crop somewhere around there. Let's go ahead and say yes, crop it out. And there we go. So now that it's cropped out, we can start doing other things with it. As I mentioned, it's very low resolution, right? So what I want to do to this is somehow expand the resolution, make it larger. So one thing that I'm going to check out for that, because you could go inside of image, right? You could say image, adjustment, or canvas size, and then you can expand the size of the canvas. Oops, it's on my other window. There we go. Through here, you could just say like, yeah, let's make it huge, right? Nice proper set, and then it would try to expand it. It's going to use internal algorithms for that, and it might work out okay, but it's probably not going to be great. So what we want to do instead is go into our filters, and let's open up our neural filters. Neural filters have been inside of Photoshop for a while. A lot of them are still in beta. but they do a lot of stuff to improve or adjust your photography, right? So we've got things for portraits here, creative, color. There's a wait list. So you got portrait generator, water long exposure, shadow regenerator. I've never even seen these actually. Noise reduction, that's nice. So I'm not on the wait list for any of those, but what I want to do, so photography, we got super zoom, zoom in and crop an image, let Photoshop add detail, depth blur, restoration, right? JPEG artifact removal. So actually, yeah, there isn't, so, you know, a lot of generative AI has like, you know, an upscaler built into it. I don't see anything that is close to an upscaler here. You'd have to use something separate. However, let's use a combination of that JPEG artifact removal with just the basic kind of image canvas resize here. So I'm gonna go to image canvas size. I wanna make it relative. Oh, hello. Thank you for joining. And yeah, I'm gonna bump it up by 2000 pixels on the width. Hit OK. What? No. Oh, I did canvas size. Silly Joseph. All right, image size. Hello. And we're gonna bring that up to, why is this so big? Yeah, we're gonna resample this to like 3000. And you can see already, right? When it does this, it's not great. And like I tell my students, when you're in Photoshop, you know, scaling an image down, resampling it down, often works quite well. When you resample upwards, there's where you get into problems because it's trying to fill in pixels that don't exist. So it tries to do that. And we get some rather squiggly looking things here, right? So you can mess around. Right now it's set to automatic, but we can say preserve details enlargement, kind of see how that looks, right? It's a noise reduction slider. That's not really doing too much for me. Preserve details 2.0. It's got a different look to it, and actually it's got kind of a cool posterly effect to that. Maybe if I turn my reduced noise down, it won't look as weird. But oops, I didn't mean to do that, guy. 3000 again. There's a question, are you graphic designer? So I'm primarily a professor teaching Adobe Creative Cloud software and things like Figma as well to advertising, PR, and media design students up at the University of Colorado Boulder. But I also do a lot of authoring. You can see my books right up there. Those are my 3 recent books. And I'm a LinkedIn Learning author. Actually, I just finished a new LinkedIn Learning course recording yesterday. That's coming out around April. It's going to be around Figma and using variables and conditionals to enhance your prototypes in Figma. And I'm very excited for it. It's going to be a really nice course. All right, so whatever we choose, right? I'm just going to do automatic, and we're going to expand this out. So you can see it makes it much, much larger, but you know, as it resamples and enlarges, it's going to look not so great. Let's bring up my navigator. Just kind of take it down a little bit more, right? I love the navigator panel. I don't understand why Adobe doesn't have the navigator as part of Essentials. It's one thing that I always tell my students when introducing Photoshop, and Illustrator too, you know, open up the navigator, dock the navigator, create your own workspace, but include the navigator in there because it's just so useful. There we go. So now it's been upscaled, but doesn't look great. So let's see if we can use some neural filters to try and fix things up a little bit. So again, I'm gonna go into my filters, open up neural filters. And by the way, neural filters are not Firefly filters, right? They're not technically generative AI through Adobe Firefly. They're an older set of things based off of Adobe Sensei. And I don't say older to say not as effective or not as good, because of course, you know, something is old doesn't mean it's not great. This image is super old. I mean, again, I took this in 1996, 1998, something like that. It's old, but I like this photo a lot. So let's have a look here. So photography, we got super zoom. That's not what I want. Photo restoration might help. JPEG artifacts removal may help. So we are restoring this. Strength is high. You can see the progress bar right here as it goes through to try and remove any JPEG artifacts. Now these aren't technically JPEG artifacts that are part of this image. They're simply aberrations created from resampling upward, right? We're going from like 600 pixels to 3,000 pixels. Let's see the difference here, right? Show original. Let's zoom in. So let's go to like 100%, somewhere around there. And then look at the original. Oops, that was the original. Yeah, I mean, not a huge difference. So, okay, JPEG artifact removal. Let's do some photo restoration as well. And this also has JPEG artifacts reduction. So it's a little, hello. Yes. So that has finished its job. You know. So here is what we got. There's the original. It's not great, you know? So this is one thing, I'm gonna just output this to a new layer. Hit OK. And it brings it out to a new layer for us. So now we can easily switch between our initial layer and our secondary layer. There are differences. It's fine. I was hoping for a bit more of a cleanup from some of those neural filters. You would think that upscaling would be something. Gosh, I swear there was a neural filter for upscaling, but I guess either. Oops, it's not the correct one here. I swear. That there was something similar to that. Maybe I'm thinking super zoom. Yeah, so super zoom, drag to reframe the image. Well, I mean, I don't really want to reframe it is the issue here, you know? Let's output to a new layer and see what happens. Oh, I gotta toggle that off. Reduction, sharpen. All right, so this is what I have, right? This is what I have to work with. So this particular shot, again, Hope Cemetery, Worcester, Auburn, Massachusetts border. Let's go ahead now and see what Firefly might imagine that Hope Cemetery looks like. Now, I remember I spent a lot of time in Hope Cemetery back in these days. I remember distinctly what this area around here looks like. Of course, Firefly's generative expand through Photoshop, it's going to go through and it's going to try to determine, right, on these different areas, exactly how to expand this image. But it's only going to be basing that on the existing pixel data, right? Which is fine. So let's go ahead and bring that up somewhat here, right? And if you don't put a prompt in, it'll just expand based on that pixel data. You can see it's pretty fast. It's ripping through here. I should do more streams on photography because I have a ton of photos in my archives. Oh, wow. All right, there's some things that are like really off about this, really strange, that are not true to form. And then there's other things that are kind of fun, right? And we've got different variants here. So this is funny. I mean, again, this is in Massachusetts. So, you know, it renders this area looking like plains, which there are no plains in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is very woody. I do miss the woods. So this first one is probably closest to truth. One thing that I should mention about Photoshop and generative fill and generative expand is that right now it is using still Firefly image model 1, so the older model. The public beta actually uses, you can use image model 2 in the public beta, which if I had a little more time, I probably would have downloaded that beforehand. But hey, Kevin, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Yeah, I haven't tried upscaly.org. No. But yeah, I mean, that's something that, I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, I guess I understand, but it seems like the perfect thing either for a neural filter or something inside of Photoshop to do, because, you know, this image, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but, you know, I took this photo back in like 1996, 97, 98. It's very old. It's a scan based off of a 35 millimeter print, and it's very low resolution. So I did a few things with neural filters to try to up it up, but there isn't anything really directed toward that, which is weird. So let's see, this is the original, and then here's the filled in stuff, right? Interesting. So it's expanded the fencing here. Oops, hello. Which makes sense. It's decided that this stone ends right here, which is probably pretty accurate. One of the nice things I like about generative expand and generative fill inside of Photoshop is if you do have shadows inside of here, like from this tree, like this shadow is generated by Firefly, right? So it's done a pretty okay job at rendering these shadows, right? And hello, excuse me. Hello, Reverb Mike, welcome. Kevin mentions the generative expand is what students tell me they use most. Yeah, I think, I mean, it's something that I've used quite a bit, and it's great for reframing things. Of course, you want to get the perfect frame, perfect shot when you're actually out in the field taking exposures, but you know, we all know that doesn't that does not always happen, right? That's why when you're in the dark room, well, back in the day when you're in the darkroom, you can, you know, enlarge it across past the edges of the paper and the frame, and you can, you know, effectively crop the negative that way. And of course, inside of Photoshop, you've got your crop tool. Inside of Lightroom, you've got the ability to crop. So cropping is easy, right? To reframe from cropping, but you know, going back and actually expanding your frame is sort of an impossibility. I mean, when it comes to the darkroom, it's certainly impossible. Even inside Photoshop with Generative Expand, it's not possible to really do it because the AI has to just kind of make stuff up, right? But the good thing is it makes it up with your pixel data, with the image data that you already have embedded and existing in the photograph, which makes it, as Kevin mentions, right, one of the neatest new tools inside of Photoshop. Because you're not just, you know, you're not just putting in a text prompt to just generate some imagery from some model, right? From some set of things that have been trained, the model's been trained on. You're actually generating the imagery from your own original content, which I think really is where a lot of this stuff should be focused, right? It should be focused on things like this, bringing things up, restoring things, expanding things based on what exists in frame when it comes to photography, right? I don't have any interest really in going through and generating, you know, photographs based on AI nearly as much as I do using the AI to modify, to fix, to enlarge, to expand, to remove items from my own personal work, right? So another thing we can do here, of course, if there is something strange, we could always go in. Let's actually, now that we've kind of done this, let's right click here and flatten our image back down. Discard hidden layers. Yes, that's fine, Photoshop. And come on, man. Photoshop's always questioning me, you know? Like, you sure you want to do that, Joseph? Yeah. I just asked you to do it. Do it, man. So yeah, I love this gravestone right here. It's beautiful. It's white and just like clean looking. But let's remove it. What if we wanted to remove this? Because maybe we want to put some text down here or something. And this is kind of in the way. Of course, inside of Photoshop, you now have the remove tool. And the remove tool itself, you know, it's new. You can see it's got sparkles here. This is what I tell my students. If you see little sparkles near an icon, it's probably going to, you know, it's probably going to be AI. And this brush is really tiny, so I'm going to use my square brackets on the keyboard to enlarge it quite a bit. Something a client asked for. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't want to have to go back and shoot it, and you know, if the AI is good enough to generate stuff, then there's no real reason to. I'm gonna just brush over this tombstone here and release, and it's gonna go ahead and remove the area. Ha! Did a really good job, right? Very nice. I know, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I'm used to using, right, the spot healing brush tool to go in and remove things from images. Like if I've got a little thing here, a little thing there, fire hydrant, you know, whatever it might be. What do you call it? Power lines and things like that. Yeah. There's nothing like that here. Although you can definitely tell, right, where the AI has like made stuff up. Because like right here, the fence, when it's reconstructed this fence, it's done kind of a crap job, right? It really has. Oh, let's do that, Reverb Mike. Let's add a pile of leaves. So, yeah, one thing I haven't done is done a generative fill. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's add some leaves. Woo. Generative fill. Pile of autumn leaves. Oops, that doesn't say pile, does it? The AI is not going to know what the heck I'm talking about if I don't spell it right. Pile of autumn leaves. Let's see what it comes up with. I have a busy day ahead of me. I've got a meeting at top of the hour. It's 9:49 right now. Got a meeting at 10. Got a... What the hell? Why did it put it in a bowl? Mmm, delicious. Big bowl of leaves. What the hell? I love it when the AI just like does its own thing like this, you know? Hey, look at that. The third one works out. And you can see, right? It's matched it per, you know, the properties of my actual image here, which is nice. Yeah, it respected the grayscale. Frosted Flakes, yeah. Let's put some milk in there. Incidentally, I've never understood putting milk in cereal. Like, I like cereal. I like, you know, Cheerios. Cheerios are good. I like even something as simple as like little cornflakes. I like Rice Chex. You know, I like a number of these cereals that are very kind of simple and plain. I don't like sugary stuff, but I've never understood adding milk to cereal. That just, I mean, I don't drink milk. I've never liked milk, even as a little child. But I don't understand why you do that, because doesn't it make the cereal all kind of like soggy and gross? Like, I like cereal because it's crunchy and nice. I don't want gross, soggy cereal. It's like, you know, oat milk. Yeah, we've got oat milk in the house, but shreddies, like shredded wheat, Kevin. Yeah, I like that. You know what's really good? I don't know, Kashi brand cereals, right? A lot of them are very just kind of like, I don't know if you have Kashi up in Canada. It's all over the place here. You can get it just about anywhere. But yeah, it's very, oh yeah, grape nuts. Yeah, the grape nuts and Kashi are both very like, you know, it feels like a more raw, less processed kind of cereal, right? It's kind of harder to chew. It's very like, kind of like shredded wheat. But yeah, I like stuff like that too. But Kashi has this set of little biscuits like that, like a shredded biscuit. And they've got this line of a couple different flavorings. One is Island Vanilla. And their Island Vanilla, it's just got like a kiss of vanilla in there. It's really nice. That's one of my new favorites here. I used to always get Kashi Good Friends from Whole Foods. Back when they distributed it like in a distribution container, you know, you had to take your bag and like, shh, and then you'd go and label it and all that stuff. It didn't come in a box or anything like that. That was like early 2000s, I guess. We're getting very nostalgic today with photography from the late 90s, talking about cereals from the early noughts. And it's 2024. What happened? Right? Well, it's about time for me to stop this stream. We looked at a couple things here. I like how these leaves came out. Before, after. Did a really good job with the leaves. And you know, when Image Model 2 is integrated into the public version of Photoshop, it's gonna be even better, of course, because much more detail, much more realism. But yeah, I gotta jump because I do have something else going on at the top of the hour here. Whew. And then I got something at the next hour, and then I got something at the next hour, which is like a 2-hour thing, and it's a full day. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. Reverb Mike, Kevin, and yeah. I know there were a couple other people earlier. So yeah, hopefully you'll all have a good rest of your week, good weekend, and a good week coming up. And phew, that'll do it. Bye, everyone. Isolated existence. This prison.